It's season 9, episode 15, number 363 of the Decoded podcast. I noticed you changed your name again on the thing. What's going on? Do you think they'll let me do it midway through a podcast?
Yeah, try. See what happens. I just click on in the bottom left corner. Like I don't go full screen on it. It's just small screen. So in the bottom left corner, there's a little window that I can see my face, and it shows the fidelity of the microphone, the three dots. The microphone, I can mute it. And then there's the vertical three dots. I clicked on that and let me change it. We did it when we were in the green room. There you go. So
Gotcha.
let you do
They
it.
let you do it live too.
Okay.
I love that.
The machine's like, who cares? That's not a thing anymore. You remember those times back in the days where you basically had to, everything was set. Once you went live, it's all set. You can't change a
Right.
damn thing.
Everything's smart these days.
No, not really, but
Okay.
it's it's like
Convenient.
a knack. Convenient. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Convenient,
Very
not smart,
convenient.
maybe.
I had a funny moment the other day. I wonder if this ever happened to you. So often, like McDonald's for me, I'll go and I'll order from the app. Like I don't bother going into the shops anymore. I'll order and I'll sit in curbside number 5 and just have it brought out to me. Which in some ways feels kind of retro. It feels kind of retro because I think back to good morning, Gary. Good
Morning,
morning.
Gary.
I think back to the A&W days, and I don't know if you had an A&W in Ottawa that this was ever a thing, but I can remember stories. Maybe I was even in the car. I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google this. Um, A&W used to have. I think A&W used to have the servers come out to your car on roller skates. I think. I know that a few did like little um, restaurants like that, those motor restaurants where you could the drive up before there was drive through, there was drive up, right? I know what is it? Checkers? Not checkers. Checkers?
I
It's an
think they're
American chain.
they do. I was going to say that does sound familiar.
Not
American chain.
checkers.
I think you might
What
be right.
is it checkers?
Well,
No.
let's check.
Well, there's an American food chain, and you pull up and you order from your car. There's like a little kind of like a takeout menu there, and they come out and they bring it to your car for you. And there's like all these. Oh, it was there. It's not checkers, but I'm thinking checkers. Like my brain is like gaslighting me.
Checkers is a popular American double drive-through fast food chain known for its bold, affordable burgers.
Okay, I didn't think that was it. Okay, well, okay. So A&W back in the day, I think also they had the service come out on roller skates, and they would put like the on your window kind of a tray,
Mm.
put the food there for you. Why am I going there? So the retro idea, the retro idea. Um, so I pull up to McDonald's and I'm craving a 10-piece. So I put it in through the app. 20 minutes later, it's not at my car yet.
Oh,
So I go into the app. I'm like, well, screw it. Like I got to go. I'll figure out food somewhere else. I got to get on the move here. And I go into the app and I want to cancel it, and it says it's been sent to the kitchen. I'm like, okay. So I double check just to make sure it was the right location. Right location. So I do the. It's like you're vacuuming. You keep vacuuming over that one piece of string. And you walk over, you pick up the string, throw it back on the ground, try to vacuum it again. You're like, what the hell's going on? You look at your vacuum, you check your own mind, like for reality, and you go back, you pick up the string, try it one more time. It still doesn't work. Pick up the string, tip over the vacuum, and feed it into the vacuum. And you're like, okay, keep on going. So this is me in the same mindset. I'm like, well, I guess I'll go get my takeout. So I get out of the car, walk across the parking lot, I go in, wait in line, because it's kind of with the one that I was at, it's a very small queue space. Like there isn't, the way they've redesigned this particular store is not conducive to long lines. Like it's just very small. So I'm waiting there, finally get up. I'm like, yo, like, can I cancel my order? Like, what'd you order? I said, well, I ordered this. It's funny in the app, so you go to your orders, your favorites, whatever. It doesn't actually give you an order number on it, but it shows that you've ordered in the date. I'm like, yeah, I'd just like to cancel it. And then they just all of a sudden it's like someone poured hot water in the anthill. Everyone's like scooting around, checking printers all over the place, accusing each other. What'd you do with this? And I'm just kind of standing there like, what have I done? I just want to cancel my order because I got to go. Anyways, it was 20 minutes to that point. I'm there for another 15. And I'm like, I had to be somewhere 10 minutes ago. Like, my hope was just to kind of shove this in my face and go. The question in this, beyond this being just a ridiculous story and a flashback to A&W and all the other garbage I added into it, have you had that moment where you're on the app, it shows on the app you've ordered something, and you're talking to something like, well, we don't have the order. And all of the data points to a reality that just doesn't exist across the counter. And, and I'm even doing things that I don't normally do. Like, I'm looking at it, and the manager across the counter takes my phone from me. And I'm like in a daze. I'm like, oh, okay. And then she's scrolling through, she's going through the app and all this kind of stuff. It was it was surreal. It was kind of surreal. And then the whole time I'm like, okay, the order just did not go through. It was kind of surprising to me. And it's consistently, more times than not, this mystery, where did it go? Where did it go? Is with McDonald's. And I would say it's probably the longest standing app that I've had on my phone. And then it wasn't until, I think, when they close out their day, because of the whole tap factor, the way that I have the payment set up, I didn't get a receipt for it till midnight. I guess it's when they close out their receipts. Well, it depends on how they close their day. It just kind of sits almost like an escrow, and then they close out the till or the balance sheet at the end of the day, and then it like sort of hits the charge, which I'm fine with that. It's just kind of funny, you two in this in an elongated timeline, that if I hadn't got the food, let's just say, and I was still in this position of like, what the hell happened? And I got frustrated. Midnight, I would have got a receipt that said, oh, by the way, you've just been charged for that stuff that you didn't get, right? The one upside to it, and I'll credit this one store for it, was they put it in the Grinch box. So they gave me like this extra large fry. The sauce, there's a different sauce that they're doing, some sort of a sour cream and onion sauce or something like that, plus the 2 barbecue sauce. So I had way too much sauce. And they gave me a pair of socks. They're like Grinch socks, which I will say is kind of cool, because Karen was talking about how they're kind of fun. And she said she would go get those. I'm like, I don't want to get the meals, but now I got the socks, so I'm going to put them into her stocking. So there's an upside to this. But back to the app thing. Has that happened where somewhere in hyperspace, that order, and you're kind of sitting there like, you actually don't know what to do? You become reliant on the data. And I can't defend myself, and I can't explain myself. It's a funny little position, and everyone's kind of staring at me. Everyone's kind of staring like the app has betrayed us. The app has betrayed us. The app, like, everyone's like clanking out. It was a really funny. So probably somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes before I got my 10-piece. Upside, it was hot because they took somebody else's order. And I got a pair of socks. Side note, I'm kind of low-key addicted to their orange drink right now.
Their orange drink?
Yeah, it's like orange Fruitopia, orange, something like that.
Oh, it's yes, I do like that one too.
You know why? They're smart. It reminds me, we've talked about this on the pod. It reminds me of the McDonald's orange drink.
I miss that so much, bro.
That high glucose rocket fuel, like you're just going head first into a wall after you've had a birthday party. Then they double down and give you that McDonald's cake.
Yes.
Was it you saying? Was it you saying, or someone told me you can go in and you can actually just order McDonald's cake? Like, they had them in the freezer.
You could. I don't think that they have them anymore.
Oh no, they don't do the birthday party cake. That cake is on par with like the McCain's Deep and Delicious, right?
Yes,
like they're that same kind of texture.
Oh, you are bringing back fantastic memories for me. Basically, if your car runs out of gas, you could pour that orange drink in, and
It would smell great too.
it
Yeah,
would
it would
smell
smell great.
great, and your car would go through walls, as you'd say.
Hulk smash.
But
Yeah.
those cakes, I remember when I had birthday parties at McDonald's, there'd be a cake for the party, and then I don't know how this happened because my parents didn't have a lot of money, but there was always a cake to take home.
Mm.
Like, so it was like my parents paid for two cakes, one for the party, one to take home, and I think that's when I look up at the sky and say to God, "Thank you,"
God,
because
you are awesome.
yes, you're an awesome God.
God is good. God is great. Thank you for McDonald's cake.
I like that.
Well, that was a prayer we used to say at home. When, not the McDonald's cake part, but our family prayer, holding hands. God is good. God is great.
So,
Thank you for our food, amen.
so
Damn,
now
that comes back.
you got me thinking. So I'm thinking of the times I've been at McDonald's. So I don't like to do drive through anymore. What I like to
Curbside?
do, not even, I will go
Ooh.
in. I park the car. I
What?
go in. Yes, I use a,
Why? Do you use do you go to the counter and talk to a human?
no, I use the
Oh,
kiosk.
the
And
kiosk.
what I do is, so I don't trust the drive through anymore. There's the probability of them making a mistake in the drive
Mhm.
through for me is too high.
Damn humans.
So McDonald's might be like, hey, it's 0.03, 0.2, 0.1%. I'm like, it's too much for me. I refuse. I do not want to roll back around and get my
Too
stuff.
risky. You know what? I feel that. I feel that because in our house, some things have happened, and it's funny, never happened to me, but I feel obligated to protect my family. And it's never happened to me. Something's happened to Jake consistently with Karen. If we're talking breakfasts, she has more than once, so it's an issue. She likes getting the breakfast burritos.
Okay.
They have come frozen, like cold. Like I don't even know how
Oh,
they do that. I don't even know how they do that. Or they forget to give salsa. So I'm
ugh.
feeling it. Maddie, she's not a she's not a cheese hater, but she typically doesn't want cheese on her burgers ever
Okay.
or her breakfast sandwich. So it's always a
Custom order.
no cheese. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I
as
mean,
far as custom orders go, that seems pretty simple, right? A slab of cheese on there. It's not like we're saying you only want the left half of a tomato friggin' slice. It's actually pretty simple. You're just removing a step from your mechanical process. Don't put cheese on this thing. I get it. Technically, you'd actually save some time on your metrics because not to have to put cheese slice on there, you'd actually be able to make it, 0.001.2 faster. So we do in our house have these blips that have become issues. So, but I still do drive through. I still do curbside. But you're right.
so can I dive a little deeper into this?
I require it.
So two things. First, three things. Rochelle's here. Good morning, Rochelle.
Good morning,
Welcome.
Rochelle.
And to our educator friends who are listening, like right now, Gary, Rochelle, welcome to the holiday break. We made it to the holiday break. Okay. Um, this is wonderful that we're talking about McDonald's drive-through and their metrics and stuff because the things I wanted to talk about when we started the podcast, I think we're going to get me fired from my job. So I'm really
Hmm.
happy that we've taken this detour. Here comes the third thing. I see you changed your name again.
We got to watch out for the roundabout, though. The roundabout could take us back to that. Going through Waterloo, Kitchener. There is the high likelihood you're in the wrong lane, and that roundabout makes you go back 180.
But maybe I will get to the stuff that's going to get me fired later.
We'll get
Okay,
a better path to it.
McDonald's,
Yes.
their probability of getting their orders wrong in the drive-through is low, but I'm sorry, it doesn't meet my threshold. It's not good enough. So I when the family decides we're having McDonald's, I tell them, text me your order. I'm on the way. I'm going. I'm in the car. I'm driving. It's not that far from my house. So I park the car. I go inside. I see their orders. I open my app and then I log into one of the kiosks and I start ordering. And then I patiently wait at the desk where they bring the food, where they call your number and you get your food. Now here's my favorite part. So when they give me my food, I literally I I walk over to the closest table, and like a psycho, I'm staring. I'm staring at the people that just gave me my food as I open the bags and I pull things out to see if I got what I ordered. I don't do that in the drive-thru anymore because I will refuse to drive the car until I know I've got everything, which blows their numbers to bits, right? They're like, "Get out of here. We hit the button. You need to go. We need to serve the next person." Oh, no, I'm not going anywhere till I know I got everything. So that was a problem because they're like, "Sir, is there a problem?" I'm like, "There might be. If you stop talking to me, I can make sure I got what I needed." And then they're like, "What the F?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll go in next time." So I'm staring at them as I'm pulling stuff out of the bag, looking, put it back in, go to the next bag, because we're a family of four. I got two teenagers here. They eat. So it's not like I ordered, two things and I can walk away. I ordered a bunch of food. And I
Hmm.
told you I don't like their numbers. They're still too high for me. Their error rate is still way too high.
The
So
risk.
yeah, the risk is not happening. So anyway, that's what I do now. My kids think I'm nuts. Everybody thinks I'm nuts. I'm like, think what you like. I want to make sure I got what I ordered. Now there was one time where I walked out to the car. I look in. I'm like, oh man, they missed a burger. So I roll through the drive-thru. I'm like, yo, I was just inside number 986, whatever. I'll show you whatever you want. I didn't get this burger. And I'm like, you can look if you want, but and they're like, no, no, we'll just give you what you say you're missing. So anyway, um, the one time, two more stories. The one time they brought me my food sealed, like it looked like I ordered so much that they like stapled the bag shut and everything. And then I looked at the bag and I looked at the lady and I'm like, do you know whether you put the nugget sauce in there? Like, do I have to? Because I'll step over to the side and I will open that bag and I will go. But I'm like, she goes, oh, I don't know. I didn't pack it. Well, we got a problem because you guys have forgotten my nugget sauce in the past. And
Hmm.
I'm ready to kill, man. I'm like, are you guys kidding me? How do you eat your nugs without the sauce? And I'm a sauce guy. I want this. So then you know what she does? She kind of looks at me and she gives me the drink tray and she goes, "What kind of
Yeah.
sauce did you want?" I said,
Yeah.
"Habanero and sweet and sour." So she dips her hand into the bucket of sauces and puts them in the middle of the drink thing. I'm like, "Thank you." And then I got home and I didn't check the bag that day. I got home and there were sauces in the bag. So I'm like, "Okay, good on you guys." Because those things are 50 cents each now. You gotta pay for the sauce. So she was looking at me like, "You're trying to rip us off," and I'm like, "I'm not trying to rip anybody off, but if I find out that I didn't get the sauce in that bag that you just sealed, I'm coming for everybody's head. Like, you guys are John Wick style. You guys are done." So anyway, and then the one time Sarah and I were going to Guelph to visit Ben. It was a tight timeline. My wife's like, "Can I get a drink?" I'm like, "Of course you can get a drink." We order a couple of things. We get to the first window. They're like, "What did you order?" I tell them. They're like, "We don't have it in our system." I'm like, "Well, you better find it in your system because I'm not moving my car until you tell me." They're like, "Okay, go to the next window." I go to the next window. Everybody's like, "I'm sorry, here's your drink, but you didn't order or whatever, chicken snack wrap." I'm like, "I did." They're like, "Can we see the app?" I show them the app. Same kind. They're like, "Oh, we don't see anything." Then I'm like, "I have a receipt. Your app sent me an emailed receipt." I show them the receipt. It is pandemonium in there. They don't know what went wrong, how it went wrong. So I just said politely, I said, "I'm not leaving until you either give me cash for the snack wrap, I gotta go, or you give me the snack wrap. But I have a receipt that says this is I've already paid. You took my money." And they're like, but, and again, it's like they're like, it's that line of no return. Once you cross that line, your metrics are screwed. I don't know how you get them back, but my car was the car that I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. So give me what I ordered or give me my money back. It's one or the other.
Hmm.
But yeah, dude, you should see them now when because I kind of have a recognizable face. I go in there now and they're like, one guy knows me because when sometimes we order chicken and it takes a little bit longer. And the guy will say to me, he'll wave me, he goes, "You know the drill." I'm like, "I know the drill. I'm in no rush." And then the bag comes and I literally pick it up. I go to the closest table, I put it down, and I'm staring at them like to say, "I know, you better have packed it right." And I'm pulling it out. They're like, and I'm a camera guy. All these cameras are watching me. So they can review the tape. They can be like, "This psycho, he pulls over, man. He rips those bags and he looks at everything. He stares at us the whole time he's doing it." I love it, bro. I love it. Rochelle
And at
says
this,
she checks because she's been burned too many
yeah,
times.
it's funny though. Like there really is this cultural phenomenon though, and it probably has to do with um, probably how we, because now this whole I don't even know what we'd call it, the whole curbside mindset. I was thinking about this. How did this come to mind for me? But I was thinking about how, coming out of COVID, this idea of, you and I talked about this, I think, during some of our COVID episodes, how you used to work in grocery and you were a bag packer. You did that sort of gig. And we were talking about, I think, I'm betting if you go back and you check our content, we were wondering at the time if these amenities would continue. We were kind of forecasting, will they keep the stuff? And you were a big supporter of that. I remember you telling stories on the pod about graffiti market or wherever the hell you went, the Lank, and you'd roll up and you'd just open your trunk, or you'd be in the car, boop, and the trunk, then they'd put in your trunk. They're like, there you go, and you just drive away. Like it was just so automated and robotic, right? But it felt like that was the safest way to get your takeout fix. And I've been sort of just reflecting on how some of these amenities have stayed with us. They haven't disappeared. You can still get your groceries curbside pickup now. Like they're building new sites, new stores with curbside pickup built in, and they're retconning or retrofitting spaces, where there was to have like now those drive-through spaces as well. The spot that I was telling my chicken nugget story about, they actually had, and it's funny because I don't know, this is why I call it retconning, because I don't know if when they built the curbside spots, they included spots right beside it that they have the lane to drive up, but then they have some yellow lines across them. So it's almost like a don't drive here. Like it's like, I don't know if they're supposed to be like warning lines, but painted on the ground, it says for drive through only. So what they've done is they've taken some of the curbside spots and used those for as kind of like on the fly curbside when they can't get your order ready fast enough at the window. So like, can you just pull up? Because back in the day, we just said, can you just pull forward? Can you just pull forward? And then they sort of said, can you just pull forward to that spot over there? And then they would bring it out to you. Why was I going there? So, so one of the things I think about this with the whole curbside mentality and this idea that mistakes will still be made because who knows, the human, the tech, you really don't know. It doesn't matter. But mistakes are going to be made. We want to confirm that what's in the bag is what we need. Rochelle said it. I've been burned before. This other mindset that would have just driven me nuts, and maybe back in the day when I was running restaurants, because it drove me nuts at the time too, is this idea of I'll call it overclocking the order. As in, they don't even want to look in the bag. They're just going to hand you a mitt full of sauces. I will tell you, even for McDonald's, the profit margins are slim. They're doing it by volume. So if they are giving away a handful of sauces at 50 cents each, and they have no profit coming in to counter that, they're projected, I get it, their actual food cost is different than their profit loss, right? Food cost is based on the raw material cost of it. And then you have labor on top of that, and then you put profit on top of that, and that becomes the sales price. But whatever the food cost is for each one of those sauces, that's an absolute loss. And let's say they charge you 50 cents for the sauce, but it only costs them a nickel to make. They hand you, that's 25 cents that they lost in profit, flat out. In order for them to make 25 cents, they have, it's always been something ridiculous. Like, to make an actual clear 25 cents, they got to sell 3 Big Macs. Like, that's just kind of the way it works. In order to actually make your profit, you are doing it by volume. Now, there are some places that by their cost, you're like, okay, the keg, $85 for a steak. Okay, I get it. Beef is expensive, but there are some items that, they sell 1 or 2 every week and they're making good cash off of it. That can't happen too. The actual profit percentage that they're putting on it, they put higher because they know people will pay it. But seriously, for them to this overclocking mentality, well, here, just take it. Here, take it. Go ahead, just take it. They overclocked my chicken nuggets. They gave me the upscale version of it plus the socks. That is profit lost. Like, it's just gone. But it happens consistently. There isn't any tolerance, it seems, to question the technology or what's happened with the technology, to question the user experience of using the technology. And the quality assurance part of it has been offloaded entirely to where you saying you want to look in the bag and people are giving you like side eye. This is a really fascinating phenomenon to me. And who would be accountable for that? Like, how do we have a discussion about that? Well, we'll have it on the podcast on a Saturday morning, I guess. But this overclocking of them, that has happened to me so often. I come home with 2 extra burgers. And Karen's like, what happened? Well, they just gave me brand new stuff. And sometimes that's cool because someone in the house will eat it or use it. Sometimes you're just like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? This whole, overclocking the order is also happens with Walmart. Like, you get these groceries and they say, just keep it. Here's your $25 back. Here's your $35 back. Just keep that salad bag. It wasn't completely like just there. It really is kind of mind blowing that there's this, in my mind, I'm like, there's an opportunity here to be criminal and make a lot of money, or food, right? Just getting like free food or free stuff, tell people like it's not what I ordered and they just give you the next thing. We know that back in the day, part of this was an issue when everyone was going to the scan your own stuff and people getting, not scanning their own stuff accidentally, right? And getting free groceries or whatever. It's just funny, overclocking. Oh, it's like overcompensating, but overcompensating feels intentional, like you're going too hard on the front end. Overclocking feels like I'm just going to give you a handful of sauce and you only asked one. You want more? You want more? One more? Because it's just this, we have to hit the numbers. So I'm going to get in more trouble if I take too much time as opposed to giving away free food. It's remarkable where we're at.
Rochelle says the overclocking has happened several times to them with pizza. I'd like to hear more about that. What do you mean exactly?
I'm going to try and guess. Let's try and guess before we actually get the answer. What would be overclocking with pizza? It can't be that you get extra pizza. Maybe you get a pizza and it's not what you're looking for, and they just hand you something else. The sauces, I guess sauces or dips.
Dips, maybe, or drinks.
Yeah. That one dips or drinks. It's easy to happen. Yeah. We'll find out. It's just the here you go, take it, go, and the look on your face, like that's what's going to satisfy you, right? There is that kind of funny moment too, like they think they've done what you've asked for, but they kind of haven't.
So all this McDonald's talk has me remembering when I was a kid. My cousin worked at McDonald's, and she worked at McDonald's, and for a few Christmases in a row, she would give me and my sister gift certificates for McDonald's. And I remember there's something my recollection is that the gift certificate, it was like for $20, but the gift certificate was like a Willy Wonka golden ticket-esque type of document. It wasn't gold, but it was pretty. It was big. It was like a big check, and it was regal looking, and there was a lot of calligraphy and stuff to it. Man, I gotta tell you, some of the best Christmas gifts I can remember waking up on Christmas morning and opening that envelope from my cousin with that $20 gift certificate inside from McDonald's was the bomb. Because back then, like a Big Mac combo wasn't even $5. It
I
was
would
four,
say, yeah,
four
for
bucks
like
and
four
change.
ninety nine. Yeah, yeah.
So that was 4 meals for me, bro. 4 meals where my parents would take me to McDonald's and let me use my gift certificate. The
Oh,
la-
remember that book? Remember that book that they had for McDonald's? Sometimes they'd hand them out at Halloween, and it was like it almost looked like little checks, and there were McDonald's food gift certificates, like for free fries or a box of the cookies,
I think I remember what you're referring to.
orange drink. Yeah, I think they used to be able to get those little books. I think at Halloween they put them out. Had like 5 or 6 little coupons in them.
Here,
It's
let me share
awesome.
my screen. I
Yeah,
think
do
I
it.
found them. I love old McDonald's. The new McDonald's, man, it kills me. It's like you burn your brand. I don't know who's in charge of any of that stuff, but I don't like it. While I figure that out, Rochelle said we have gotten 2 pizzas with cheese when one is supposed to be without cheese. Then they just make a new no cheese pizza and tell us to keep the extra one with cheese. Friggin' vegans, man. You're causing problems for the world. Oh,
I think back to running restaurants and how we did corrections, but we tried to be so proficient, um because you just couldn't afford to make those mistakes. You just couldn't afford to have food come back. And I think of the number of times that I've actually sent food back, and you can kind of measure the, what's the word, the integrity
mm,
of a space by what comes back to the table after you've asked for something major to be fixed, right? If your steak is overcooked, there's no way to uncook that. Like, you can't, it has to be a brand new steak. So by default, you also can't make a steak fast. So, if you're at the table, you either tell the people it's going to be 15 minutes because you know that that's how long it takes to make a medium rare of whatever cut. Or you offer something else. And in offering something else, you may actually switch out somebody else's order. Yeah, I remember the one that's third one over, the one with the little faded picture of McDonald's. Yeah, the gift certificate there. Now that I'm seeing it though, I don't know if I was remembering correctly because you showed me the ones at the bottom there with the fries and the food on
that's it.
it. I think it's the faded ones that I remember, and each one was worth $1, I think. I think that's what I'm remembering. So if you were given a pack of them, yeah, it didn't have the actual items on it, not the ones I remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It would be interesting to walk in and hand those in now, see what would happen.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Just like walking into a store if you still got a $2 bill. Here you go.
Or
$2.
pennies, right?
Pennies, yeah. Some places, do they even accept pennies anymore? I don't know.
I think they have to. They might say to you, "No, we're not taking them," but I think legally they have to because it's
Are they still collected and then just taken out of circulation, I imagine? Like whenever they hit the banks just return them somewhere.
oh, bro, I found the Halloween gift certificate. I'm gonna
Okay.
sh I'm all excited for this.
Hmm.
There. Oh,
That'd be tough. That'd be tough to do vegan pizza, eh?
where did it
And
go?
the vegan pizza, because it's so, the way I kind of think of, like, how does everything kind of stay on the, like, you just have, I won't say just, sorry, that's insulting. So you got the bread or the dough, you got the sauce, and then you got the vegetables on top. You got to be really cautious, right? Not having that, because even hot sauce and vegetables sliding off into your lap, like that's still pretty painful.
Is
I
this what
can
it
imagine.
looked like, Chris?
I don't remember those
Oh,
ones, Mick
okay.
Boo, although I'm not surprised. No, the ones that I don't, the ones were not actually not specific to any one holiday. They were just those other ones. And I'm actually remembering now another time when I would get them. It was also very popular for my customers on my paper route to give me those things.
Mm.
Yeah, right around Christmas time, I'd be getting like as part of my Christmas bonus or whatever was the last collection date. Do you remember having to do this? Going door to door to collect for the newspaper?
I always wanted a paper route, never had one.
Yeah, I used to have like these cards, which was like one card per customer. Um, had their address on it, and it had like all around the outside of the card the month, April, May, June, whatever, and then the dates on them. And I would come around each week and I'd collecting. Oh man, that just rolls off the tongue. Toronto Star collecting. And I would get my payment in cash for the newspapers that week. So I would collect at the end of the week for the newspapers that had been delivered. That's whacked. And sometimes around Christmas, I don't remember that one either, although I believe it. I'm sure it happened. I just don't believe it. Look at branded by Coca-Cola too. And the old school kind of Archie design over on the right side there, the right image, that this kind of like, it almost looks like a Asian temple design,
Mm.
right? Like
Yeah.
Forbidden City kind of a design when you see that type of a roof. Not that I know, that's just, it kind of reminds me of that. So yeah, so they would give me, I'd have a hole punch, special hole punch. They'd give me the money, I'd punch it right in front of them. They saw that. They'd paid. And then sometimes they would give me lotto, Lotterio tickets. Going back in the day, Lotterio tickets. I actually won, I think, $100 one time on that. I'm like 14 years old. And or cash tip for delivering the newspaper. Or McDonald's coupons, I remember. Yep.
Rochelle says, LOL, there's pepperoni on the no cheese pizza. Ties
Okay.
with the whole vegan thing. Rochelle, so the other day, I'm kind of shifting gears here because Rochelle's
Mm-hmm.
talking about food and well, Rochelle, you still work at Bauer. You guys had your Christmas breakfast the other day, and one of your colleagues posted an image of her and the librarian with the food, I think. Anyway, then I posted an image of the men because at this school, one of the teachers started this tradition of a Christmas breakfast, and then it was when I was there, it was the men cooked. So there was four of us and four males in the building, and yes, they did, and we cooked. Anyway, that's where this whole vegan thing started with Rochelle. Oh man, this school, Clough, this school that I worked at, when I transferred to this school, I I honestly thought, and I was talking to my wife about this the other day, I was like, I either retire from this school or I leave this school to become admin. Neither one of those things happened. But this school was the promised land for me. And I got there and it was a gong show. Um, I was there for 3 years, and I'll never forget the third year, man. I went to the principal. I said, I can't do this. You put me in this grade. I didn't ask for this grade. And she's like, well, there's nowhere else for me to put you. I'm like, well, you put everybody else somewhere where they wanted to be except me. I gotta go. I gotta go. It's not you, it's me. She was great. The principal was great. I'm like, I gotta go. She's like, I don't want you to go. I'm like, I gotta go. I can't be here anymore. This is out of control. Um, Rochelle's still there kicking butt.
I want to pivot again.
Do it.
So I will oh,
You pivot as I'm
So
staring at all these certificates from the olden days.
what's that?
I'm staring at all these McDonald's. I'm reliving. I'm gaining pounds here as I look at all this McDonald's merch.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So you know
oh!
how I feel about what
While you
you good?
talk, I may just be flashing images. Okay.
I put something up.
Oh,
I
you.
don't know.
Oh,
Okay,
oh.
so you know how I feel about potluck, right?
Uh huh.
Okay. So I had
When you're done, I'm going to talk about my potluck story, and I'm going to get fired.
so
Anyway.
so I won't even tell you how I got this photo, what I had to do to get this photo. Um, so bless my department's hearts. Okay, so there was a moment this past week. Actually, it was probably 2 weeks ago. Because so me coming out of the community, I'm just gonna leave that photo up there for a second. Me coming out of the coming out of the community classroom, all of a sudden now I'm in the office, right? I'm in our office. And there was discussion 2 weeks ago about the traditional potluck that they have. And I was aware of this because I walked in on it a couple years ago. I'm like, oh, and they had a scheduled day where everyone brings in food. I would say um, one of the trickiest moments I've had to navigate was being in the office this time around and having this discussion pop up, and they literally went around person to person to person, said, what are you bringing, what are you bringing? And I flat out said, I'm not bringing anything. And it was almost like the radio cut out, the announcement stopped, all the conversation went quiet, and everyone's sort of turning and they're looking at me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to talk about this. I'm gonna have to address this. I'm gonna have to address this. And I basically said, I'm like, look, I spent a prior to this hospitality. I get I just have a very deep appreciation and respect for safe food preparation. And I said, I've just witnessed time and time again at these potlucks, people not following the rules, leaving food out in their car, tasting the spoon. Like, I know all these things happen because I know the controls it takes to cook in a kitchen professionally and not make people sick. And I know how people are willing to get sick at home. Like, you do these things, you're making sauce for your family and you lick the spoon. I said the home rules, when they're your every rules, always run the risk of using home rules for public. I said, I know it from my house. I bet it happens in your house too. And they were like, no, 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 no. And so they're like, well, why don't you make something then if you're gonna be so safe? I'm like, no, I will not participate. I'll be bringing my own lunch. Thank you for the invite. And then they get a little bit of side eye, like, this guy's crazy. But I know too much. I know too much. So then I just kind of bow out. I politely, thank you. I appreciate the offer. I'm eating my lunch at my desk while they're all like filling their disposable plates with food and loving it. And then, so the way it kind of works out is and then this is, I guess this happened often, there's too much food. Too much food. So this is what happens with the too much food. Some of it makes it into the fridge, some of it stays on the desk in one of the offices. I'm like, okay. And then it comes back out again the next day, and I'm like, oh, okay. So like nothing's been refrigerated enough. I'm gonna get crushed if any of them actually listen to this podcast. But it's just the process. But this is the process that I've seen everywhere, right? Some stuff got into the fridge, but some stuff didn't, and then it sits out all day. And then as we're sort of like taking care of stuff over the last couple of days, like packing stuff up, I look over and I see one of the crock pots on the table, and I kind of walk over to it, and it's like that moment where in movies where the protagonist has just thrown the villain off the cliff, and you feel like, you look at the timer on the movie like, oh, there's only 5 minutes left, but when they walk up to the cliff and they look over, the creature is like, God, like climbing back up. That's what it was like when I walked over that crock pot. Because at a distance, I'm just looking at it from the side. But then I come up and I look down into its depths and I'm like, oh my God, how could this thing be so dirty? And it's even up around the edges. It's on the handle. I look at the cord. I'm like, damn, this one's dirty. And I think to myself in that moment with self righteous glee, this is why I don't do potlucks. I just can't. I can't. And then I look around. I'm like, you're going to poop yourself. Like, you're all going to be so poopy, all of you. So, man, I can't. I can't, which is also why yesterday when I think I was messaging you, there was pizza that was ordered and I was right there. The box opens up and I'm just bouncing from left foot to right foot, left foot. I'm going to get this while it's hot. Right out of the oven, came right from the store, paper box, no staining. Okay, there's a little piece of tape that says sticker made fresh for you. I'm like, okay, crack that sticker, give me a hot slice. That's what I had yesterday.
Awesome. Awesome. All of it. And when I saw that picture, I burst out laughing because I knew exactly.
I knew I didn't have to give any context.
No
I just
context.
sent the photo to you.
So at my potluck, man, there were a lot of teachers there, and I signed up to participate. I went to Costco and I bought dessert squares and like a whack of them, which is I'm like, great, okay, I'm participating. And the whole time I've got a smirk on my face because I'm like, well, who's gonna leave the meatballs in the car and who's like, you don't know, right? So I bring the squares into the building. I leave them in my room and they're sealed. So the box is shut and there's that tape that seals. People will know if it's been opened or not. So it's all sealed. It's good. It's in a controlled temperature. Everything's good. It's dessert. It's not going to go bad if it's not in a fridge. I've done the best I can to ensure that whoever eats those squares is not going to get sick because of something I did. So the end of the day comes, I go downstairs to the cafeteria and I walk in and as I'm bringing in my contribution, I see other people bringing in their contributions and they're all homemade type stuff. And I'm that snotty guy. I'm looking, I'm like, oh shit, you made that at home? And then I'm thinking, where did you keep it all day? Because you've been at work all day. These are the things going through my head. So I go over to the dessert section. I rip open that tape. I prop open the desserts, and then I go to sit down. I sit at one table. I'm talking to some people. This is hilarious. As I'm talking to the people at the table, I get the vibe that I'm sitting in somebody's spot. I sit down and they're like, hey, Roland, how's it going? We're talking. And then I start to see other people come in, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm sitting where they think they're supposed to be sitting. So I think to myself, this is a layered story. This is the game within the game. I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested in wrecking there because they're coming over, they see their buddy and th're like, oh shit, Chidiak's I'm like, duh, Chidiak's leaving. So I kind of politely get up when everybody's in the middle of a convo and I leave. And I just keep making my way to the back of the calf. I end up at table 9, okay? Because the tables had numbers. I end up at table 9, and then that's where spec ed people start landing. So it's good because I'm in the spec ed department. So we're sitting there and we're talking. And then, our principal, he starts things up. We do a prayer and whatever. And then the lady in charge of this whole thing says, okay, we're going to start with table 1. Table 1, go get your food. And I'm like, I look at one of the spec ed teachers and I'm like, yeah, I'm not eating today. And she's laughing, right? She's like, what's going on? I'm like, tell me when we get to table 3. She's like, okay. She's like, okay, table 3 is up. And there's just this sea of humans. And they're all, all I see is their hands going in and getting the food, right? Going in, getting the food. And I was a little bit excited because there were pizza boxes. They just had come in, they were put down and they're sealed. And it's like, okay, good. Like I can eat that because it's hot, it's fresh, it just got here. I'm assuming it was cooked in a controlled kitchen, like all these things. Well, I look over and I'm like, yeah, I'm not eating today. And And not only that, but as I'm seeing this line, all I see is the hands. I just see hands going and getting food. And then I see people walk past me and they've got their plates and their plates are loaded. Like they've got everything, which is great for them. But I'm like, oh shit, somebody brought that and you're eating that? Like, so I'm being kind of like, anybody who knows me is like, friggin' Chidiac thinks he's better than us. He's party pooper. I'm like, no, I'm not a party pooper. You guys eat what you want. I'm not eating. I wouldn't even go get my squares because I don't know. All I saw was just hands. All I saw was just hands going in, touching whatever they're touching. And I'm like, so people are eating, we're chatting, whatnot. And then I'm like, I say to one of the spec ed teachers, I'm like, it's time for me to go. I'm like, I'm here because it was in place of a staff meeting. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm here. I came to the staff meeting. I signed up to bring food, even though I'm not eating. Because there's the people who will say, I didn't sign up, so I didn't bring anything, but I'm also not eating. I'm like,
Mhm.
whatever. Here's my contribution. I've contributed, but I'm not eating. And then I make my way out of there and go home. But I just couldn't. Once I saw the hands and I'm like, "Oh shoot, I'm at table 9." I'm not doing it. Um, and that's saying a lot for me because I'm an eater, but I'm like, "No, man, I can't do this." So I'm officially, and I blame you. I'm like, my buddy Chris, he's a chef. He's told me things. I can't do it anymore. There's too many variables that I once did not understand, didn't care to understand. I now know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Rochelle says she puts the leftover breakfast food in the fridge at the end of the day from staff breakfast because I couldn't handle the thought of it being left out overnight. Even the end of the day might be a little risque, but good on you, Rochelle. We appreciate that. I don't know what happened to any of that food. I don't know what happened.
The science is sound. From danger zone to get out of the danger zone, it's under 3 hours. Under 3 hours. So you got to get it. You got to get it up and hot, served hot if it needs to be, or served cold when it needs to be. And then you got to get it back down under 4 degrees in your fridge within the 3 hours. You can leave it out. You can leave it out, but it's basically just a bacteria bath at that point, right? Like the stuff, moisture and protein, stuff like that. Like these little microorganisms love that kind of stuff. So to reduce the possibility of growing pathogens, got to get it back under 4 degrees. And that doesn't even funny. I'm going to come back to that. Because there's a good Samaritan factor that can be played out according to Rochelle's
And Rochelle
comment
is a
there.
good Samaritan, but I toss.
Absolutely.
I toss. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah. There's an element to, I get it though. It wasn't I get that, but I've said that to people. I'm like, don't eat that. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't eat that. It sat out on the table for 7 hours. And then they say it's fine. And even though it's fine, I'm like, no, you can't brush. It doesn't brush it. That doesn't do anything either. Like, it's kind of like science. Science is really not a part of those discussions. It's like it's okay. Like, scientifically, it's not. Like, no. This is before Trump too. People like science. It's science. That dip's fine. I'm like, you can't smell pathogens. Like it's not fine.
Some
Um, I have in the past been the guy that has just walked by and thrown something out, and people are like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, there's like dairy in that, and it's been sitting on the table, and you're just eating old slices of buttered bread with it. Like, dude, I'm doing you a favor. It's going to give you the shits. So,
Somebody said to me, "Well, are you going to stay long enough to pick up the food that you brought that wasn't eaten?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Why?" I'm like, "Again, the hands. They go in and they come out, and I don't
mm,
know. I just don't know where those hands have been, and For a group of highly educated individuals, it's like you said, there's stuff that goes out the window. Like the science department, actually, I can visualize one of the science teachers was what threw me over the edge. Watching him just go in like with reckless abandon. Whatever his fingers touched is what his fingers touched. And I'm like,
Hmm.
he's a friggin' science teacher, man. He's a science teacher.
Hmm.
I love science. I like that. And he's just going in hardcore. So I was like, yeah, I'm out. And then I won't reveal who this person was, but there's another individual on staff that is on board with me. And I ended up messaging him and saying, "Did you eat?" And the response was, "I had a little bit." So
Hmm.
I'm sure that they investigated, they made sure that what they took, they were, it was as safe as it was going to be for them. But yeah, I saw plates that were just mounds. And I was like, oh my God.
If you're to play back the game tape, if you play back the game tape yesterday, someone brought in a box of Timbits. Now, I would put Timbits into that neutral kind of item. It's coming from the shop. It's in the box. Looks like all 20, all 50 are there. So you weren't in there like mucking around on the drive over. So the Timbits are out on a table. I'm walking up. I see somebody open it. I'm like, cool. Like, I'm gonna grab a couple. I like the sour cream glazed if they got them. I'm gonna grab one of those. It's just a nice bite, right? I'm coming up, and as I go in, so I'm not quite close enough to the box to get my hand out, right? To sort of like defense mode. So as I'm coming up, I see someone reach in. I'm like, brand new box. There's gonna be some in there, no problem. They pop it in their mouth, and then they lean over. As they're popping in the mouth, they're kind of looking in the box. And I look down at the box. I'm like, there's my sour cream. It's right there. So I'm kind of coming in. I have a vector. I'm coming in. I know how I'm going to do this. I look up and I see them do this. They pop it in the mouth and they're like,
No,
and then their hand
no.
goes back in. So my hand goes to the other side of the box and I grab a chocolate glazed. So you've watched the game tape, you would actually see this. I would love to have the game tape. The person just like tick, 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 they lick and they go back in for another one. And I go to the other side. They pull that one out. It's a nice thing about when the Timbits, when there's still a lot in the box, they stack up like Lego. So I saw none of them rolled and touched each other. So I just grabbed one from the other side, chocolate glaze. I'm like, oh, I'm okay with that. And I walked out. I'm like, I'm out. That's good. I got my bite. But yeah, you would have seen my hand going and like kind of like just cutting to the left to grab a different Timbit. Yeah, we can be subtle about this. We can be subtle about this. Yeah, that's good. Because we know kids, they see the thing, they're reaching right in, right? They're
But
reaching right in. Bless their hearts. They don't have the knowledge, right? They're just little like let's not eating machines, but just like impulse machines. Oh, there's that fried thing, there's that cookie, they're going in. But I do like that using utensils. I think it's great. Start building their fine muscle control from a young age. Their understanding about kind of the rules of eating at home versus eating in public. It's good stuff.
even though Rochelle is doing this, which is
Hmm.
fantastic, Rochelle, of course, do this. This is the
Yep.
right thing. I'm sure we
Yep.
all
Good
do it.
parent. Good parenting.
But at some point, what we have taught our kids, what our parents have taught us, go out the window. Because as you saw in the game tape, the person licked their fingers and went back into the Timbit box. There was an override. There was an override that happened. I don't know why that override happens, but it happens. And yeah, I just can't do it anymore. And here's the thing too. I have to say, I'm gonna post this up for you, Chris. I have to say, I was not gonna be I'm not gonna be bothered now if I make something and I watch people skirt eating it, because I understand you don't know how I operate in my house. You don't know. That's
Yeah.
fair. And look, here,
Here's
I don't put anything on my beard when I cook at home and all that stuff that I'm just saying,
well,
so
right,
they
right, right.
they
These are
might
the
look at
things, right?
and be like, "Oh shit, he's got a big beard and he probably is just
Yeah.
cooking away." Fair game. Like I don't mind. I don't mind. In fact, I would love to get into a conversation about, yeah, Roland, I'm not eating those brownies because like you probably don't wear a hairnet. And I'm like, you're right, I don't. Um,
I will say, and just to add to this, I am going, the person that brought in this crock pot, it is possible that their parents taught them to use utensils too. We have this kind of like selective sinning that we do when we're preparing, like, doing food or transitioning stuff from home to work. I don't wear a beard net either. And as you're saying that, I'm looking down, I'm like, there's 3 beard hairs right on this hoodie right in front of me, right? So yeah,
it
yeah,
happens, and
it
to
does.
me at this point in the game, it's funny. And that's the other thing too. When okay, I think I can say this out loud here on the podcast because
Here we
nobody
go.
watches our podcast, but a, a student that I work with at school, nice enough kid, works in the resource room sometimes and will seek me out if they're struggling or whatever. They brought me a bag of Christmas cookies that were homemade. They're like, these are for you. I'm like, thank you. It's so kind of you to think of me. And they're looking at me and they're like, eat one. I'm like, nah, homie, don't play that. I'm not just going to open the bag and start eating them here in front of you. I'll save them for later. Well, they're still sitting on my desk at work. I'm not going to eat those cookies. First of all, I know a great kid. Okay, great kid. I don't have any issues with the kid, but I don't know how they were made. I don't know what possibly they may have done to them as a joke, no joke. I don't need any of that in my life. So, very kind. I'm so appreciative. I'm not going to be eating those cookies. I'm just not.
I have a standard practice that I adopted in my second year of teaching, and it allows me to gracefully back out of those moments
Tell
because
me.
it's so automatic. Because I've had students in that similar moment, after they give you a card at Christmas or the end of the year, and they stand there and they're like, "Aren't you going to open it?" I'm like, "No, no." I said, "I like to take my time and sort of look at these things in private. So when I get home, I'll have a look at it. Thank you for giving it to me." So the difference being, if that were a bag of cookies, the envelope goes into my briefcase. I take it home. The cookies go in the garbage when I get back to the office.
That's what's going to happen to these
Yeah.
cookies too. I just don't know. And kids, I I have concerns. Even with adults, like it's very nice of you. I appreciate the thought and the time you took to make them. I don't have any issues with those things, but again, because of the way I view this now, I'm not bothered if somebody tosses what I made for them, or look at me funny like you think I'm going to eat that. No issue. No
Mhm.
issue. I've even stopped. Like I used to make this. My a principal I once worked for gifted me. This is pre Chris Clough knowledge. Gifted me like he would make like a Chex Mex homemade Chex Mex type thing, and I loved it. It was so delicious. I was like, "Give me the recipe." So he did, and then for years after that, I would make like half a garbage bag of this stuff, and then I would put them in tins and hand them out to people. It's not even worth me doing anymore because I don't know how many Rolands and Chris's are out there that are I'm just wasting money. They're not going to eat it
Mhm.
because they don't know where it came from or how it was created and whatnot. And all of that I understand. Bro, I'm comfortable now even with if you're like, look what I made at home, take one. And I'm like, no thanks. And they push me to a point where I say to them, I don't know how that was made. I don't know how you live, so I'm not going to eat it. If we get to that point and then they are offended, that's okay.
Mhm.
I'm past trying to keep you happy for whatever fucking reason. I'm not eating it because I eat. Everybody knows I eat, but man, I don't know. There are no controls. I don't know if you have pets. I joked the other day. I'm like, I have a rabbit. How do you know that there isn't just rabbit fur all over my house? Like you don't. You don't. Um, yeah, bro. I don't know what more to say. It is sad because oh, Rochelle's out. We're like, get out of here. Merry Christmas to you as well. Enjoy your break too, Rochelle.
Merry Christmas.
Um, I used to love potlucks, bro. They were a thing. And now being in high school, that's like a whole other level of potluck, and I cannot participate. I
Hmm.
cannot. Next
Yep, I
time,
get that.
next time I think I crack open my desserts, I'll probably grab a couple so that I've got something to munch on so that people just leave me alone.
Hmm.
Um, because I will go dark. I will tell you, I don't care about making friends. I got up and left table, 6 because I felt a vibe that I was sitting in a space where I was gonna maybe possibly ruin other people's experience. So I was like, no problem. I don't mind getting up and going to the forest table. I'm I'm like relegated to admin space because they sit like at a table kind of outside of the group. And the last potluck I was with admin, which I didn't mind because I know them all. So it was great conversation. But I was looking around like, oh shoot, admin's not even sitting with the admin's
Hmm.
own spot, and they're like table 58 kind of thing of 19 tables. So that made me laugh out loud too. That I was like, I'm hanging with admin because there's nobody else I want to sit with.
Yep.
Or there are, but they're sitting with their program, and I don't want to be with their program. So
Right.
these things make me laugh, and they remind me of where I'm at in life,
Mm,
and I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in a good way, not like in a lazy way. Lazy comfort.
yep. I do.
Yeah. Anyway, so next time I think I'll grab a couple of desserts from the thing I bring. Or maybe I just want to laugh and make something at home and bring it in and see what happens when people find out it's homemade and just enjoy the chaos it might cause.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just not going to participate. I won't. I don't. And the other thing too is I'm not. I think of um. It's it's kind of funny. This I don't know if we're talking next week. If we're talking next week, I want to talk about how I've been deadlining my day and a part now how that sort of full stop when I pull out of the driveway of the school, um, and really kind of partitioning when I'm doing work on behalf of school, which is it's not a new conversation for you and I, but the work that I'm doing to maintain that. Um, yeah, I think next week I'll talk a little bit about that. And so into that, no, I'm not cooking for you on my personal time. It kind of that was another thing that kind of fell into that. No, I'm not going to. I decide at what point in the day my work time starts, and I start. And I find m- very much so this year, this semester so far, that 3:45 bell goes. I turn off my computer, I stand up, I put on my jacket, I grab my bag, I walk out the door. Once I got to the end of the hallway and I heard someone say, "Where's Clough?" Which I kind of liked because it's sort of like you come out of my office door, you make a left hand turn, and it's just a beeline about 300 feet to the exterior door to where I've parked. So, yeah. So, cooking for people that aren't coming over to my house is not a thing for me, right? If I'm not entertaining, I'm just not going to spend the time cooking, doing that type of work to bring in for work stuff. And I'm fine with people interpreting that as not being a team player. I'm fine with people kind of saying that I'm not contributing or doing my part. I will say I'm quite comfortable with being perceived like that. Um, because part of what they don't see is how I'm contributing my part in other places that are useful to me in that way, right? Like sort of building elsewhere. Yes, here, no, there. Like it just has to be like that. So, full stop. Talking about the full stop next week or next time on Decoded Podcast.
I was gonna say I might not be able to participate next week
When we,
on
that's why I
Saturday.
flipped from next week to next time on.
No, I like that. Yeah, I just kind
Yeah,
of giving you a heads up.
thanks,
Um,
man.
no problem. This business of how you're being perceived, what you're actually at work to do. um, I won't get into it, but what I wanted to talk about was dealing with the predictables and this
Hmm.
business of it felt like by Wednesday people were starting to leave things that could be done that day to the new year. Like, oh, just leave that. We're gonna leave that until the new year. And I was like, shit's already piling up. Like, we're
Hmm.
gonna return and the mountain's gonna be high because we're leaving these things. So I'm like, I'm not leaving anything. Today's Wednesday, today's Thursday, today's Friday. I'm doing this like I would any other day, any other week, so that when I come in on Monday, I don't feel like I'm already behind. Um, and maybe some of these people are posers. Maybe they say oh, just leave it until we're gonna shelf that, and then they go into their office and they work crazy on it so that their part's done. And then you come in, you're like, hey, I thought we were shelving this. Well, of course you shelf it. I decided to work on it. I don't. And I'm not walking around saying that either. I'm not saying to people, let's shelf it. I'm like, okay, what needs to be done? Then they tell me. Funny thing, yesterday, period one, mid period one, I brought information to the attention of another staff member, and they said to me, okay, let's do it now. And they said it like they were wondering if they were infringing on my Friday, the last day before break, way of operating. Like, they were like, "Sorry, but can we do it now?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." I'm looking at them like, "I thought you couldn't do it now." Like, "No, I can do it now." So we got something done in 20 minutes that usually takes days. And imagine if we left that until the new year when everybody's let everything pile up and then this important thing has to happen. I was like, they were looking at me, I'm looking at them. I'm like, I thought you couldn't do that in the time that we had. They're like, no, I can. I thought you were already on vacation. I'm like, I'm not on vacation. I'm calling kids out of class who aren't at school. And the teachers are like laughing at me, like, that person's not here today. I'm like, okay, I'll go on to the next kid. They're on my list of kids I need to check in with. Okay, they're not there. Um, Move on to the next kid. Yeah, I just continued as you do. I just continued doing the things I would do on a Friday to prepare for a Monday, or the things I would do on Thursday, so that when I walk in Friday morning and someone's surprised that I got something done that they just didn't think would be done for a week or something. I don't care if there's a break. I'm getting stuff done. I'll be doing work like today because I told my eLearn kids they had an assignment due on Wednesday, and some of them like, I'm not going to be able to get to it. I'm like, then hand it in Friday, hand it in Saturday. I don't care. I mean, if you hand it in halfway through the break, you're probably going to lose marks because you've taken advantage of the time. I gave you time, and now you're taking more time. That's a whole other conversation, but I'll be marking stuff. It's not a big deal. It's an e-learn class. People hand in stuff at midnight and I get to it the next day. That's part of the nature. Now I know we're on break, but I don't know, bro. I'm just in a different space. I like to leave work feeling like I did all I could during the day.
Hmm.
As you know, there's always something that pops up that
Yep.
nobody knows how to solve the problem. Might take time. I don't like those things. I mean, what I mean by that is, if it can be done now, then I'm going to do it now. And I'm like, somebody will come in, they're like, "Hey, can you do me a favor? I need this information." And I'm like, "Okay, I have to do this one thing, then I'll do it." And I'm like, "Are you sticking around?" They're like, "No." Then I'm like, "Email me. If you don't email me, it's gone." And then they won't email me. Then they'll come back later like, "Hey, were you able to?" And I said, "I told you, I don't have an email from you. I totally forgot. That other thing took way too much time." And they're like, "Okay, can you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it right now. Don't go anywhere." And they're literally standing beside me. Tick, 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 I'm going away on the computer. I'm like, "Here's the information you need." "Oh, thanks, Chidiac." And then they're gone. I'm like, "Good, got that done. Let's go on to the next thing." No to work, yes to me. I love that. For the first time ever, I posted an automated message in my email. I've never done that before. I've
Yep,
never
I
done that.
have mine. I have mine. Mine kicks in sometime this morning.
Okay.
I've always had it. It's the Terminator GIF. It says I'll be back, and then I put the date underneath it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if Karen did, but I've encouraged her to do that as well.
I would think it would be on Karen's radar. Like,
Yep. I think in part of it is she hasn't like stitched it in. She knows of it. She's talked about it. She hasn't sort of actioned it yet. Maybe she did this time around. I think it was a lot easier to potentially do that when she was a VP. I wonder if it's a little more challenging to do it as a P,
speaking of
even though
P's,
everyone's on holidays. Yeah.
I talked to Gary this week. I gave
Hmm.
Gary a phone call and I asked for some advice. And it was awesome. Thanks, Gary. Great advice. It's those things where you'd like a you'd like an administrator's perspective, but you don't want to talk to your own because you're not ready to make a commitment to the conversation that's going to come. So I'm like, "Yo, Gary." And Gary's great. Gary's like, "Well, I'm a new administrator." I'm like, "Perfect, because you're going to give me I feel like I'm going to get a careful response from Gary because Gary's learning and he knows he's so fresh that he might not know. So he knows maybe some things by the book." And I'm like, "That's kind of what I want. I want that newness perspective.
Hmm.
And then I will decide when and if I need to go to my administrators to talk about what Gary helped me out with." Um, I should probably ask you about this too, but I'm seeing things at work that are fascinating me, and I'm not sure what to do with that fascination. Not sure. But hey, you live and you learn. You live and you learn.
I like that. I like that mindset.
Which one exact the getting it from a new person who's kind of learning the ropes?
I think no. I
Oh,
think that's fine. I think it's just that statement about I'm finding myself fascinated by things.
uh,
Yeah, I think that's yes, valuable. Ask somebody new. Um, one of one of the conditions, the AI training, lunch and learn that often this week. One of the conditions that I said in that has helped me in sort of moving forward with my learning is to hang with people that are curious and are questioning, so that I find it keeps me on the edge. And often the people are either, when I say ask someone new, I don't necessarily think someone that's new to the profession or new to using AI. I'm leaning on the new to me. So someone that I really haven't had much of a conversation with in the past. So any of that confirmation bias is less likely to be an operative. I ask them a question if they might not have functional language or ideas to actually answer my question, but we kind of parse through it, and their idea inevitably comes out a different spot. It walks out a different door, and that feels new. So you kind of get to new information because I'm forcing myself to encounter and connect with new people. Five or six of the people, five of the people that came out to check out the session are people that I on a regular basis don't interact with. So just by that calculus alone, they're going to say something that is unpredictable, that's not necessarily uh, designed to please me or to sort of like build a better connection necessarily. Like some of those relational elements don't happen when you're in a fresh space. So I like that.
Yeah, I found that this week I was finding appreciation and fascination in the normal things that are happening day to day. A lot of I'm in a place as I'm doing the work, I can get lost in the I can get lost in my list of to-dos and to-bes. I can really get lost. Like there's 15 things that I'd like to get done this week, and some of them I've created on my own, but some of them I've been instructed to, hey, Roland, we need you to do this. And I found myself like um, I was in the OSR room and I was reading an OSR in the room, and I was like, this is friggin' awesome. And then I'm like, why is this awesome? Because I have a key that lets me into a room where I can look through these things that most people won't look through, don't even know exist, that are going to help me learn something I don't know. Or I'm going to see something that I've never seen before or that I have seen before and I get to explain it to other people. It was just this real, or that even I have the opportunity, I have the time to go into this room and and to do this kind of work. Like it was a really cool moment. It was a really cool moment to just think to myself, this is cool. And the fact that I'm in a high school, and then on and on and on we go with all the what I get to do I wished I could do many years ago, but didn't think would
Mm.
become a reality, is now a reality. Even when I was on supervision yesterday, in the middle of my supervision, so I'm back of the school where the parking lot is, and one of the parking lots, this pickup truck comes up, rolls by, the windows drop, and it's a crew of guys that I would chat with when I had supervision in the library for the first half of this semester. And they're like, "Yo, Mr. C, what's going on?" And I laugh and I just say to them, I don't know how you guys are driving vehicles that I could never afford, and we're laughing about this." And so I find myself talking to five guys in a pickup truck, and we're having a real conversation. Like they were joking around about girls that they like, and then one of them says to me, "Yo, Mr. Chidiak, you're married, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm married." "When did you get married?" And I'm like, 2002. They're like, "Oh my god, I wasn't even born. I wasn't even born." They're saying stuff like this, right? And then the one of them says to me with the straightest face, he goes, give me three give me three pieces of advice on how to have a good marriage." And then I'm like, "Oh, do you know something about my marriage that I don't?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, how do you know I'm in a good marriage?" And then, ha ha ha, we all laugh. But then I was like, "Are you guys serious? You want to hear this?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Can you picture this? I got four teenagers, five, three in the back, two in the front, in this pickup truck that I could never afford, asking me for life advice. And they were actually serious. So they moved from being jerk teenagers at a moment in time and it turned into real life conversation. And as I'm telling them things from my perspective, I've got this big smile on my face, because where in a million years would I have imagined that I would be working at a high school on supervision in the parking lot, talking to these kids about this kind of thing. And then I looked at my watch. I'm like, okay, guys, I hate to do this, but I got to go. My supervision's over. I got other things I need to get done before I leave for 2 weeks. And, none of them are Catholic. So I'm like, I wish you an awesome 2 weeks away from school, because I wasn't going to drop the Merry Christmas on them. I know it doesn't mean anything to them. So I'm like, nah. With other people that I don't know, yeah, sure, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas. I work at a Catholic high school, it's what we're about. But I know these 5 guys are not Catholic, so I'm like, "Enjoy your 2 weeks, stay safe, don't do anything dumb as you drive this $100,000 pickup truck." One of them was holding a box of Crumble cookies, And I'm like, where'd you get those? They're like, we went to Guelph and came back. Okay. We might not be going to class, Mr. C. I'm like, I don't need to hear any of this. I don't need to know what you're doing. It's lunchtime. But you do have a box of crumble cookies. We don't have crumble cookies in Cambridge. So it's just funny that these kids are living. I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, that experience, I saw other teachers walking past me, just shaking their head, like, oh, Chidiac's got to deal with these guys. I actually enjoyed every moment of talking to these guys, right? There's a relationship. They're turds, but at that moment in time, that wasn't what I was dealing with. I was dealing with a real conversation with these guys. And it was helping me get through my supervision as I was watching the other cars drive by, saying hello to the people coming by me or whatever. But the teachers are walking past me and they're like, Chidiac's got to deal with those guys. And I'm like, no, I don't have to. I want to. Never in a million years, bro. Never in a million years did I see that coming my way.
Hmm.
It's kind of cool when you look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I'm not talking to them, I'm talking to myself. And I'm like, oh, Chris would die if he saw this right now. Me on supervision, freezing cold. I'm dressed like a snowman. It's friggin' awesome.
Hmm. I still envision back in the day when you talk about, I mean, I also notice your language has moved from supervision, yard duty to supervision. So that's a you're letting go of the past kind of a moment. But it always brings me back. I don't remember the last time you said, like, whenever I think yard duty, I think of that picture that you and I traded back and forth for a little while about the big fluorescent snowsuit. I don't know if you remember this. There was like I think I found it on Amazon or something back in the day. I'm like, it would be awesome to have this for teachers.
Yes,
There's
yes.
your gear. There's your gear when you got to be outside.
Because so that when we did that, I was working at a school where my duty was every morning outside, right before school started, outside on the driveway where the buses would come in. And my job was to stop uh, cars from coming in because the buses would be coming. We weren't allowing cars to come in there and drop kids off. Bro, I was out there for that wasn't a duty that would get canceled because if we were at school and the buses were running, whether it was rain, sleet, snow, whatever it was, my job was to be out there. And
Hmm.
that coat, that it was a one piece, right? That one piece, I think maybe it was a North Face one piece suit. Man, that's friggin' my dream come true. You literally slip into this outfit, you zip it up, and you go outside and you are ready to rock. I feel like that's what I need again because for some reason, I've had outside supervision since I've gotten to this school. One semester or another, I'm outside. They just deemed to have me outside. So somebody said to me the other day, "Who did you piss off?" Like there's a blizzard out here and you're out here with your clipboard and your radio. I'm like, this is my supervision, so I'm out here. But that one piece, that was no joke, man. If I was still in primary in the elementary, I would want that and just leave it hanging in my classroom, knowing that I'm gonna go out in whatever is happening out there. Now, I did shift gears this week, and I tell you that I visited my wife's school to read my favorite
You,
picture book?
yeah, you had mentioned you were setting that up. I don't, I haven't, you haven't circled back to it.
Okay, so um, this is hilarious. It was supposed to be a surprise, but it ended up not being a surprise. So at the start of the week, I did mention to my wife earlier in the school year, I would love to come to your classroom and read a book to your kids. She's like, okay, that sounds good. Like, we'll figure it out. At the beginning of this week, I emailed her principal and I said, hey, I want to come in. I want to surprise my wife. I want to come in. I want to read my favorite Christmas storybook to her kids. Are you okay with that? And she said, yeah, that's not a problem. So then I said, okay, I'm coming on this day. I'm coming on Thursday. Um, so she's like, that's fine. So my wife was complaining, well, not complaining, but she was like, she had gifts for her students, and she was like, "Oh my God, how am I going to get these to school? I can't carry all these things." And so she was saying that. And then Thursday morning, it's funny, we're in the bathroom brushing our teeth, getting ready for work, and I'm like, I have a solution for your Christmas gifts. I'm going to bring them into your school. She's like, "Oh, that's nice of you. Can you bring them tomorrow?" I said, "No, I'm bringing them today." And the look on her face was like, "What?" And I said, "I'm coming to your class to read to your kids." She's like, "You are?" And then she's like, "How do you know you're allowed?" I'm like, "I already checked in with your principal. She said it was fine." She's like, "Okay, thanks for doing that." So after work, after my work, I skedaddled over to her school, and it was the afternoon of the Christmas concert. And I think the Christmas concert had just ended. So there was a sea of parents like trying to leave the school with their kindergarten kid, but also their older kids, because I'm not coming back to get Jimmy. So just send Jimmy out of his grade 5 class and I'll take him home. So as you can imagine, it was a zoo. Okay. So I walk in, I've got a bag full of stuff, and I look and I'm like, oh my God, it's a nightmare. I walk into the office and I can see the line of parents who are now signing out. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. The administrator, the principal, was on the phone and she saw me and she just did this. She's like, just bypass the line and go. I'm like, give her a thumbs up. Um, I bypassed the line, and I know where my wife's class is. So as I'm walking to her class, I get upstairs and her kids are outside the room. They're all dressed. They're waiting for the recess bell to ring. And somebody's like, "Mr. Chidiak's here." I guess they know what I look like. And so anyway, the funny thing is, so as I'm talking to my wife and her kids, two staff members say to me, "Did you sign in at the office? You don't have a visitor's badge." I'm like, "We're good. I talked to the administrator. We're fine." One of them was Mike McElveen. I think he was joking, but he's like, "Hey, where's your visitor's badge?" I'm like, "It's all good. The administrator knows." And then there was a primary teacher that said, "Did you sign in? You don't have a visitor's badge." I said, "I have full permission to be here." So anyway, the kids go outside. My wife and I are chatting. Her friends come in the room. One of the teachers that works beside my wife, I started my career with. So she comes in, we're chewing the fat, we're just having fun. Then the kids come in, and I go right back into primary mode. Right? They come in, I'm like, "Should you be talking right now? What would Mrs. Chidiac say if she saw this? Are you taking liberties?" And they're looking at me like, "How does this guy know to?" It was like I felt like I was the conductor of an orchestra again. I'm like, "I know what you're doing over there. Stop being silly. Come here and sit down. And don't move until your teacher tells you to." And they're like, they're like, "This guy knows what he's doing." So then once they were all seated and relaxed, I said to them, "Yo, I used to teach grade 3. So um, we're not doing this, right?" And I brought candy. I'm like, "I've got candy and chocolate, but you're not getting anything if your teacher doesn't give it to you. So don't think that just because I brought it, you're getting it. You lay down all these things." I'm like, "I used to be a grade 3 teacher. I know how to deal with you. So let's not go dark." They're all like, and then I read my book and it was friggin' so much fun. It was so much fun that as I was reading, I was not just reading, I was teaching. And then my wife's like, "We got to be doing agendas soon. Like you're wrecking my afternoon here." So I'm like, "Okay, okay, I'll read faster." And then it came to an end. So she says to me, "Do you miss having your own primary class?" I said, "I miss this, being able
Mhm.
to drop in, read a book, teach some valuable lessons about what good readers do and how to read." But then I was out, and it was great. So I'm like, that was good. Running this show, nah, I'm not. I don't miss running the show. No. Anyway, it was good. It was fun. I'm glad I did it. My wife enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it. I had full permission to be there. One of the teachers there thought that I took time out of my work day. And my wife was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, he just left work to come and do this." She's like, "His day ended. He didn't just leave work." She's
Yeah,
because they're probably going to walk around and be like, "Oh, Roland came in and no, I didn't leave work. My day ended and I left work." Can you imagine?
that,
It gets
that
back to
is
my
funny.
principle that I left work early to go read at my wife's school. No, 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 no.
Of
I didn't
course.
do that. Check the tapes. I left
Check the
half the number out.
taste. I like that.
Anyway, thanks for letting me go on about that.
No, it's cool. That's a really cool connection to be able to do that. Really cool connection. And also fun to kind of to do something like that. Well, to be able to see your spouse midday is kind of cool too. But um, it feels like you pointed out, it's a moment that you enjoy. It's a good thing it's a cool kind of acknowledgement too about how you've changed. People often ask me a similar question about, do I miss the restaurant? And I say, no, I miss the adrenaline rush, the Friday night line out the door, but all the other stuff I can let go of it. All the other scheduling and paperwork and budgeting, and there's moments. So
Even looking
cool.
around the room, I was like, oh my God. Like, the the things that elementary teachers do to make sure that their kids have what they need on the
Hmm.
walls, in the desks. I was like, oh my God, get me out of here. I don't, when I was in it, I was in it. Now I'm not in it and I don't want to do it. So I'm glad that I am where I am because I like what I'm doing. But I do miss having my own group, but that's okay. I've had it. I've done it. I got pictures to prove it. It's all good. Um, and I'm now one of those guys that I used to look up to. I used to being a PD or whatever when I was a young teacher, and someone would come in to talk to us, and you'd hear their resume. They're like, this person worked from K to 12, and I'm like, I wonder if I could ever be a type that could say I worked from K to 12. Now I can, which I think is a really cool, like at the end of my career, to look back on my career. I love it. I'm a collector. So what am I? I'm collecting years of experience in different places
Yeah.
doing different things. And so, wow. The wow, I'm in a friggin' high school. Wow, that is insane to me. That is insane to me in a good way. K to 12, baby.
Hmm.
I was looking at my AQs the other day. I don't know, somebody I know was upset with me because their AQ didn't make it fast enough through the course I facilitate to OCT, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? I You passed the course, I provided your name that you passed. That's my job. What happens after that is not my job. So I look myself up and I'm just shaking my head because as I look at the AQs I have, I can remember I can remember what brought me to that AQ, which is a story in and of itself. And then there was the PQP, 2006 part 1, 2016 part 2. Man, that's a conversation starter, right? 10
Yep.
years to go from one to the other. I love That's great too. Now, mind you, I had to experience some nonsense for that to happen, but it's great now. It's recorded. Took 10 years for me to go from 1 to 2. That's a long time. That's a third of my career.
Yes, it is.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. A third of my career.
I don't see me coming back to any more AQs. I'm at the full stop.
Bro,
Full
I
stop.
thought I was too, right? Like, but then I got into high school and I have some ideas on how I'd like to finish my career. So it's what I would like to do is worth me taking more AQs, but they can be a real drag, especially when the time we've invested in our own growth and understanding how education works and stuff. It can be a real drag.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I didn't think I had the capacity, but my interest in my career at this time is stronger than the resistance to take an AQ. So you take the AQ and you go from there.
That is true. I will acknowledge that it is a possibility.
Well, if you
I
woke up
th-
tomorrow and you're like, "Hey, I want to do this now, but I need this AQ," you'd go get it.
so, but here's the thing about, I guess, my passions or my impulsivity is I usually have some sort of clue that my interests are moving in that direction. And there is nothing right now. Like, I would be utterly gobsmacked if I to sort of wake up and suddenly have a new interest. Like, it's just, I've let go of that part of my practice. Um, and it's not as much of a settling, like a status quo settling, it's a settle down, I think, which is different, and just kind of stay and be a little bit more deep. Um, I have qualifications that, like, I have my guidance. I've had my guidance quals forever. Um, to go back and do student success or guidance. Am I watching for those opportunities? Yeah, yeah. But it wouldn't be a again, that's something that's kind of on my radar. There is nothing else right now that's sort of that's circling me that would sort of spark me up to take another AQ. I've given the thought about taking one of the First Nations qualifications that we have, Indigenous education. It passed. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Thought about going deeper into MLL. No, no. So these would be the other spaces that I could still add capacity, I guess, to my career. Um, but none of them sparked me enough to kind of, like, even now as I mention them, I don't have there's no giddiness or curiosity to sort of go deeper or pay more. So could something pop? Yep, it could. It could. Uh, but there's nothing there. Like I said, I just, I don't know if I don't think I'm as open to my own career surprising me right now. I think I'm more just like, I want to just do the work that's in front of me for the time being.
I get that. I get that. And again, before I got into secondary, I was pretty much done with AQ courses, same as you.
Mhm.
Like I was like, there's nothing more that I need or want. And then I'm like, holy cow, there's a new opportunity here. Um, and I felt the energy. I felt like that surge of energy is important, right? Because when you get hip deep into an AQ and you see all the assignments in front of you and all the reading, it's like, oh my God. But you gotta, for me, I had to continue to remember, okay, this is important. I need to get through this because without this, I can't do that. And without, like, I can't even have the conversation with my administrator because they're going to be like, well, you don't have what you need. Even if we could put you there, you're not qualified. Um, I didn't want that. I want to be able to go and say, this is what I want to do. And then, all right, well, do you have yeah, I got the qualifications. I've got the papers. So can we talk about practical now? It's like papers are done. So let's talk practical. How do we make this work? Can we make this work? What can we make work? It's just, I guess it's the excitement I needed walking away from re-engagement, which was like such a cool experience for me. Again, something I never thought, I didn't know that it would appear in my inbox and then think to myself, I'm going to give this a go.
Mhm.
And maybe that'll happen to you, right? Or who knows? Something pops in your inbox like, whoa, this is worth me doing some things differently because this looks really interesting.
Yeah, I guess the funky thing is the trippy thing to say is I can't imagine anything. I can't imagine anything drawing my attention like that. And your inability to imagine something usually is based on um, like just a lot of magical, unprecedented, random, chaotic things. So to sort of pause and be present just means you've stopped imagining. That's all it really kind of means, right? And that can happen sometimes consciously and subconsciously. Am I inspired to do my work? Yes. Am I inspired to learn more about the work I'm doing? Yes. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the thing. I'm just not imagining my career anymore,
Well,
or
and
at this moment. At this moment.
that's fine. I
Hmm.
just think if something lands in front of you and you just deal with what comes your way and you decide what you're going to decide. Like again, I had thought in the middle of my career it'd be kind of neat to do secondary, but it wasn't enough for me to actually look into it and to spend money on courses. I In my district there were when I had that thought, we were locked in a mode where transferring between elementary and secondary was closed, and the closed sign had dust on it. That's how long it had been closed, and everybody was like, "Don't assume it's ever gonna open again." And
Hmm.
then COVID happened, and then all of a sudden the door opened, and, the door and when the door it's funny, I remember so I was at, before I did re-engagement, I was in elementary school, and a teacher I worked with many years ago had messaged me and said, "Hey, I see there's an opening at your school in intermediate. Tell me about your school." And I told them about the type of population we have, and I told them about administration. This was all my perspective. So it was like, it's a tough school, it's a different school, but admin is supportive and they got your back. So, you do what you want with that. And this person was interviewed and hired. And then 2 weeks before the end of the school year, I was talking to my administrator and he's like, "Yeah, that person's not coming anymore." And I was like, "What happened?" They're like, "They got the door open to secondary and they jumped all over that and they were chosen to go to secondary." I was like, "The door opened?" And he's like, "Yeah, they every year a document comes out, and if you're interested in making the jump from elementary to secondary, you fill out this form. But you're told the door's been locked and we can't even find the key. But we still have a process that allows you to put your name forward. So if we do find the key and we unlock the door, your name's on a list." And then it's based on seniority. There's all kinds of rules, but everybody's like, "Well, here's the form." So they give you hope. Put your name on this form. But the door hasn't opened in 10 years. So, but put your name, because if the door does open, you got nothing to lose by putting your name in. Well, the door opened and she was like, "I'm here, I'm qualified for that job." She got interviewed, they took her, which sucked for my principal because then he's like, "Oh shoot, I thought I hired somebody that could really fit in here. Now I got to hire somebody and there's only 2 weeks left in the school year." So anyway, after that, I was like, "Hmm, interesting." And then as soon as I got into re-engagement, I started putting my name on that list, and every year the door opened. So, and the doors opened every year since that time. Mind you, you may not have the qualifications for what's available, or
Hmm.
only one school's hiring, but the door has been opening. So now there's all of a sudden I hear there's a flood of people waiting for that document to come to fruition, and people are dropping their name on that in that document now saying, "I want to move. I want to move. So if I'm qualified for something, I want an interview for it." And so yeah, for the longest time in my board, it was like, "Well, you can put your name on the list, but it's been 10, 12, 13 years since it last opened. They don't open
Hmm.
that door." So, like, a lot of cool things have happened. The door's been open. People have expressed interest in interviewing me for positions, and I land in a spot that, because I remember telling you that the door opened. I had an interview. It was for religion, and when I was offered the job, I thought, "Am I ready to teach religion for the rest of my career?" And the answer was no. And so I said no. And then, well, I'm glad I said no, because now I'm in a job where I really like what I'm doing. It's so different that I'm not locked into a classroom for the rest of my career at this time, and I like that. So anyway, it's just you never know. You never know. And you're right. You don't think about if you're not imagining it, whatever, right? But you seem happy in your work. You seem
I am.
satisfied. You make your work good, in my opinion. Like you do the things that you need to do to make it enjoyable somewhat.
Yeah, I'm not quite at the downshifting stage where I actually want to completely make things simple. But I'm probably getting close to it. This might be the early indicator that I just really, ready for retirement, or it's not a stop. It just comes down to how abrupt will that transition kind of be.
Hmm.
So,
Bro, thanks for taking the time to do a Joe Rogan podcast with me today.
you're very welcome.
An hour and 50 minutes. I don't remember the last time we went this long.
It's big stuff. Karen, you want to say hi on the podcast? No, there's a no. Huh? Yeah.
We could have had our second guest ever.
Could have had our second guest ever in 10 years. Yeah, no.
Yeah, Karen's like, no thanks.
Yeah, I'm out.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Okay, bro. Well, is there anything you want to say before we shut this down?
No, I'm good, man.
Gary just
I'm
probably
good.
woke up from his nap. He's wishing us a Merry Christmas. We must have
Nice.
Gary.
Well said. Well said.
Merry Christmas to you as well, Gary. Let's see if I can change my one more time before we. This is great. I love that we can change our names here on the fly. I love that. Thanks for your time, Chris. Thanks, Rochelle, for jumping in. Gary for jumping in. Anybody else who's checked us out on this day and or in the future, because there's always a possibility Carlos listens and then I get a text like, yo, I just heard you guys again.
Yeah, you mentioned me.
Carlos, we miss you, Carlos.
We do indeed.
Okay, well, bro, if we don't podcast before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas.
You too, dude. I'm sure we'll be chatting at some point, somewhere, sometime.
Somehow.
Well said.
Okay, have a good
one. Peace, man.
This was season 9, episode 15, 363, baby. See ya.
Good one. Ciao.